What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you an NFL news and rumors video on the Chicago Bears and the report that they're supposed to give Thomas Brown a quote-unquote real look for the head coaching vacancy after the season. Before we get started, guys, let me know in the comment section down below, should the Bears hire Thomas Brown long term, or should they look elsewhere for the head coaching job? So let's get into it, guys. So as we know, Matt Eberflus has finally been fired. That's been something going on, that Bears fans wanted for the last year and a half, 2 years, and finally happened. Their last loss on Thanksgiving it just had to happen. But overall, though, I don't think he did a terrible job. But let's talk about their new coach, their interim coach, who had a crazy year. He's had 2 promotions so far because the guys got fired, and that's Thomas Brown, former OC for the Panthers, not too long ago. And now he was started off the season 2.5 months ago. He was the passing game coordinator slash backup tight end for the scout team. The backup safety for the scout team for the Chicago Bears. And now, fast forward now from 2.5 months until now, he's now the interim head coach for the Chicago Bears. Shane Waldron, the OC, he was a scapegoat a couple weeks ago for Matt Eberflus to keep his job, and obviously now Matt Eberflus, the head coach, is now gone as well. I've been on record since the summer that the Bears should have brought in Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. We see what happened with the Commanders, how they started off hot, and we know with Cliff Kingsbury it did. It does normally start to cool off around this time. So we'll see if Jaden and the Commanders can kind of right that ship and kind of get back going. But I think Cliff and Caleb would have been a good connection. I was on board with that as well in September. Early video before even before the Bears started really struggling. Like I said, probably week 2, I did a video on early prediction video on Cliff Kingsbury being the Bears head coach in 2025. Now, as I said, I'm kind of cooled on that video, or cooled on that prediction, because as I said, Cliff's still struggling. Same old Cliff. Starts off hot, starts off the best offense in the world, and then he can't. And then by the time the halfway season comes, he can't even move the ball. His offense can't move the ball at all. So I don't know if the Bears might look past that and still hire Cliff. But me personally, I think they can go a different route. I would love an offensive mind. They had defense with Eberflus the last 3-4 years, so I'm kind of I would like to pair Caleb with either a great young OC, which I don't know who that would be, or give him an offensive minded head coach, which there are some out there that are dying for a job. Todd Monken from the Ravens, he's one that kind of stands out. List goes on, but I think Vrabel, Belichick, those defensive guys, I will leave alone personally as a non-Chicago Bears fan. But let's get into Thomas Bryant, though. As I said, you're looking at Caleb and his numbers, and everything's not about numbers. As I said, the Stats Free Sports channel, we don't really care about the numbers too much. But the numbers, they don't lie all the time. And Caleb looks a lot better under Thomas Brown. I'm going to keep saying Brown for some reason, the former Lakers center. But looking at Williams' number and his play under Shane Waldron, it's definitely a big difference. He had 198 average passing yards with 26.3 rushing yards, 9 touchdown passes, 5 picks, and completion percentage of 60%. Now you go to 3 weeks with Thomas Brown. He has 275 passing yards, 47.3 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Now, no, under Brown, there's still no wins, if I'm not mistaken, but they have been playing better. He's been playing better, and that's the main thing. He's your number 1 overall pick. You want him to succeed, and you see the number 2 overall pick. He looked a lot better than the number 1 did. So far, I thought that rookie season. It's a long career, hopefully, for all these guys. Long career, so we're not too stressed, as of right now. Like I said, I'm not a Bears fan, but as of right now, I'm not too worried. We're playing the long game here. So, but you want to find this hiring of the head coach or the OC is probably the most important in recent times. Number 1 overall pick, uber talented guy. You have a pretty good solid team around him. I just think Eberflus lost the locker room. Him and Shane Waldron, the reports coming out very fast on that The players didn't love the Waldron hire, and they didn't love Eberflus. And that's been coming out as soon as he got fired. Both guys got fired. Players been talking doing via interviews or social media. So they're making their voices heard. But you have to get Caleb the right head coach and OC combo. You have DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. The list goes on. Roma Dunze. You know what's going on there. If you're watching Chicago Bears, they have talent, but you have to find someone to guide Caleb into being the best that he can be now and for long term. And Thomas Brown, he looks good. He looks the part. I'm not gonna lie to you. As an OC, the 3 games he's had with Caleb, he's looked good. My only trepidation is, normally interim head coach turned to full-time head coaches, they don't really work. And that's the problem there. It don't really work long term, And same thing goes last year. I was on the same boat for Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. I know he got him hype. He got him playing hard, playing well. But I said then, I don't think the Raiders should hire Pierce. He's not a head coach as of right now. He's not quite ready. And I know Thomas Brown has more experience in the NFL than Antonio Pierce did. I know Pierce played for a long time as a good linebacker. But Brown, I mean, you don't want to put that it's a different pressure than being an interim OC and even an interim head coach than you having to, take over the reins and really lead this team for the next supposedly 4 to 5 years and have a #1 quarterback on your belt as a first time head coach. That's something different. That's something that you will want someone that knows what they're doing, someone with the experience. Like I said, I like what Thomas Brown has been doing with him. And even I wouldn't mind the new head coach would keep Brown and keep him as the OC, full-time OC, give him a good raise or something. But you want to have a head coach, and like I said, for me personally, an offensive-minded guy who can have even more help in guiding Caleb long term because he needs that. Rein him in some on the bad plays, coach him up on that stuff, the extended plays, trying to do too much. Because, but I know at some point you have to live and die with that stuff because, the magic that he can make, that's Aaron Rodgers-esque, Pat Mahomes-esque, that's great and all, but those guys eventually learn to settle down and limit those plays also. And that's something that Caleb, like I said, he's a rookie, so they'll come in due time, hopefully. But as of right now, you want to limit those, 10, 15-yard sacks, those crazy sacks that he takes sometimes. That's something that you kind of got to limit. But, you still catch, a younger Aaron Rodgers, and even now you'll catch Pat Mahomes here and there on some of those bad plays. So it does happen. Nothing too critical. I think people are overreacting to him holding the ball on a little too long. Guys like him love to play make. Nothing wrong with it. It just comes at costly times sometimes, And but we've seen spurts, like I said, under Thomas Brown, that Caleb looks phenomenal. He helps him get the ball out quicker, faster, a lot easier concepts. They even let him move in the pocket more. So, as I said, I'm loving what Thomas Brown's doing, but I don't think he's ready to be the head coach. And the Bears, their fan base, the organization, the players even they need someone that they can really lean on and say, hey, he will be here 4, 5, 6 years. He will reach the end of the contract and be in line for an extension as a head coach. You don't want someone in Thomas Brown you give a shot to, and you might miss a high chance that you might miss on them as a first time head coach, and then you gotta go back in the market yet again. Trying to find someone new, a new head coach and a new OC combo. So I don't know if Brown is the guy for the job. Plain and simple. I like him a lot. I like what he's done. Pretty good resume, but the situation as being a head coach for #1 overall pick, that's just tough. That's just tough. And normally you would want someone that's qualified and someone that's more qualified and that has a head coaching experience. And for me personally, as a non-Bears fan, I would love to have a head coach like Todd Monken, who's been around winning programs, who's been good in his own right. He's played. No, he's coached Lamar Jackson last couple of years, MVP year last year. He was the front runner a couple of weeks ago until kind kind of faltered the last few weeks. But he was with Georgia prior to that. He was winning titles there. So I think Todd Monken will get a job. A lot of options. Joe Brady, excuse me, from the Bills. The OC from there, he might get a job. And like I said, I'm not mad at Thomas Brown getting a job. Just I don't think the Bears is the one for him as the head coach. I won't mind, I don't say the Jags either, but someone who has a young team. I'm trying to think now. If the Panthers had a crazy firing and fire Dave Canales after 1 year, which might not happen, but something like that. I won't mind pairing him with Bryce Young because the expectation there is kind of low. Bryce kind of is on his way out, kind of sort of maybe. We're not sure about that, and that team needs a rebuild. But Thomas Brown going to the Jaguars wouldn't make sense. Trevor needs someone established. Thomas Brown staying with the Bears as a head coach doesn't make sense. Caleb needs someone that's established. So I'm all for Thomas Brown getting a job somewhere as a head coach potentially, but I'm just not with the situation of the high overall picks, which were, as I just named, two former first round picks, Williams and Trevor Lawrence. Those two guys need structure. They need a great establishment, a great family around them, and you won't really get that from a young head coach that a first time head coach that needs to help himself and trying to learn the ropes of being a head coach. So I hope he gets a job. Like I said, I hope Brown even stays as the OC with the Bears with their new head coach. It's highly unlikely. Most guys want to either call plays themselves or bring in their own guy. So it's probably unlikely. But if Caleb has a strong connection with him, you never know. You never know what could happen. I just don't want him. I just don't want Brown to get 1 year and then be done anyways. So that's kind of the downside of being a black head coach too. Like Pierce with the Raiders, he might be going after 1 season. Will he get another job sometime soon? Probably not. Probably not. You had your 1 shot and you missed it. So Brown, if he gets the head coaching job after having a great, last second half of the season with Williams, and he kind of has a rough go around the next season as a full-time head coach, probably gonna be one and done, and going back to the passing game coordinator yet again for a couple years. So that's something you want to kind of pick your own spot at. But if he does get offered a job, he has to take it. Obviously, you can't turn it down. But I just don't think he'll get offered a job. Honestly, I think they'll look at him, but I think they'll go with the more experienced guy, and I think that's the right decision in my opinion if that were to happen that way. But if Brown gets it, hey, kudos to him, best of luck to him. But it's gonna be tough to be in that establishment with DJ Moore already not really feeling Chicago and feeling Caleb Williams from what we see from the outside. With the fan base as well, they might not really love Thomas Brown either long term. So we'll see what happens. But that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.